Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Like it. Check out the podcast in the description.
Uh, the Raiders lost to the Bucs, and I thought the score was 24-20, but it wasn't. That was the score going into the fourth quarter, John. The final score looked like they didn't. What was it? 45-20.
Yeah, 45-20.
I mean, the game got switched. Gruden, I don't blame him for being pissed that we had to play this game, given that his offensive lineman couldn't practice. But this is the way of the NFL this year. It's just part of the deal. And they were in that game for a little while, but I just watched them and thought it's cool you beat the Chiefs. It's cool you beat the Saints. They've given it all back. It's one thing to lose that game 24-20 or 32-28. Like, all right, whatever. You get beat. Tampa's really good. Some people think
I'd even say like 31-20, but it was super tight. They got a last touchdown or whatever.
But to just kind of play three quarters and be like, "Nah, we don't got it today," that was disappointing.
To me, Guy, he had just a call that makes no sense. I mean, borderline egregious, given that it kind of felt like he was putting his balls on the table earlier in the game when he went for a fake punt.
Yeah, and got it on his own 34, right?
Yeah. What? So you go, okay, Gruden is emptying the kitchen sink because you beat Tampa, Kansas City back-to-back. We'd be like, God, can the Raiders win some playoff games? And then late in the game, going into the fourth quarter, he's driving the field down a touchdown, 24-17. 24-17. And listen, I think too often in like the NFL vernacular now, it's just go for it, go for it, go for it. Never punt, never kick a field goal. It's like, guys, field goal kickers and punters exist because on good teams, they matter. Like you always say about the NBA, you've never heard of a 6 man on a shitty team. No one cares about your bench guys. No one really cares, like unless you're Sebastian Janikowski. And really, the reason he was famous was because he was a first-round pick. A kicker was a first-round pick more than like the majority of his career he played on a shitty team. And we've always thought, and I'm not trying to, I love Seabass, but I was going to some of those games, like the middle of it. I don't know if he survives as long on good teams. He missed a lot of kicks. But the point is, I think he gets overvalued of like, just punt, kick. Like, there's a reason you have punters and kickers, right? There's time when I'm all for kicking field goals early in the game, right? When it's close and you're going back and forth. The Arizona-Seattle game, they get that pick, the DK makes the play. It's 13-7. You kick the field goal, you're down 13-10. It's in the second quarter. Kick the fucking field goal. The Raider game's in the fourth quarter. And it's pretty clear, like, Tom's got a bunch of weapons. He's missed some throws, but it's like at any moment you feel like you're holding on for dear life. 4th and 2. When your offense had made plays.
I think
Aguilar made some plays. Waller had a touch. It's like, you guys look good. Ruggs continues to look sweet.
You're at Tampa's 17-yard line.
So a lot of people were asking me on social media, do you think the reason he did it is because he didn't have his offensive lineman all week? And my pushback would have been like, if that's the first quarter or even the second quarter, I'd be like, yeah, trying to feel out the game. I'd have no issue with it. Late in the fourth quarter, when you have 17 points and you're driving down a touchdown against what's pretty clear is a big-time team, I cannot get behind. Like, kicking the field goal is the ultimate pussy move. And then what happens? Tampa drives the field. And people are like, well, you gave up a 3rd and 13. Exactly. You know that your team gives up 3rd and 13s to that Leonard Fournette play. Like, that's not like, if we get them there, you guys never get that. So, of course, that's why you go for it.
You're saying if you have a different defense, you can play the let's get a stop, get the ball back game.
Yeah, like the Bears or the fucking Tampa or a good defense for sure. To me, though, he's been the head coach now a while. He knows his defense isn't good. And this is a game where it's like the Browns game this upcoming week is way bigger for their playoff hopes than this game. But this is a game, all of a sudden you bet against them. If I had more money in my account, I would have bet against them. I would have been like,
well, when we did the podcast lock of the week, that game was off the board too. When we'd made our decision on what game,
because we didn't know if it was going to get pushed back or whatever.
Yeah. So
it was like most people didn't think you were going to win. You were missing your offensive lineman, but then, Guy, you play the game and you're fucking right there. And he kicks. I thought Gruden, and I've been saying this for a while, was kind of this badass. and as people, Raider fans will hit me over, like, you forget because it's been a long time, but he's a conservative coach. But then he like does the punt. Why wouldn't you? Because ultimately, then it snowballs and you lose a game. If you didn't watch one snap and you look, you'd be like, God, the Raiders got rolled. And they're like, well,
Yeah.
they got rolled in the last 12 minutes,
Right.
but for the most of the game, like they were right there.
And even if you are conservative, part of this evaluation, part of the calculus, people have been saying that one a lot lately, is your defense is not very good.
And what's the best part of your team? All these offensive weapons, right? You have what can be your play?
And here's the other thing: it's not like the field goal makes it a 3-point game. You're still going to need another touchdown to win the football game.
But don't you look at it of like, this is why I'm anti the field goal, because this is what the analytic guys always say earlier in the game. Well, early in the game, turnovers and stuff, like I'm just confident that their next drive is going to be successful. And you're just putting a lot of pressure.
And you're thinking like, how many more possessions are we? I'm getting 2 max.
And their defense is good, right? So you're in the red zone.
Right.
So to me, a huge part, you're in the red zone in the fourth quarter. It's hard to get there against good teams all game long, let alone just like you said, you just start doing the math, like 2 possessions. And really, if they run it down our throat, maybe we get 1 and like some garbage 1 with a minute left or something. I thought that was just egregious. Like what are we doing here? If you're trying to win the game, it's like it kind of felt not white flaggy, but just out of play. Like this isn't the ebb and the flow of this game. Kind of random.
Yeah, it felt like it was the execution of a game plan for a coach that coaches another team, not this team.
Because if you would ask Bruce Arians, Tom Brady, and Todd Bowles, what would you like them to do right here? Be like, kick field goal, right?
Right. Because we go down, we score a touchdown, we're back up, right? By 2 scores.
If it was 4th and 10, I wouldn't be going as nuts, right? I'd even say like 4th and 7. You'd be like, yeah, probably not going to get it against the defense. You could push it. I'd say anything like 4th and 4 and below. It's like you got a Pro Bowl tight end. You got this Ruggs kid who's sweet. Aguilar,
your quarterback is really mobile.
And he made some plays with his legs. They lost the game on that play. I mean, they did. They didn't lose the game on the next drive on 3rd and 13 when Fournette they lost it on that play. And then Derek, what happens the next possession? Derek throws the pick, and they turned into the Raiders. They turned into like, oh yeah, Raiders gonna get rolled. And now I know you feel good against somebody against the Browns, but
that's just to me like I felt good about the Bucs because I was like, are the Raiders are they gonna handle beating the Chiefs well?
You would agree with this statement though, right? There is a shitload of pressure on just the franchise of this game. Like you lose this game, you're in major trouble.
Yeah, because
right?
you got the Chargers.
But I'm just saying, like a team, assuming like the Colts are going to get to 10, the Browns, for as flawed and weird or whatever we'd say, they would be 6-2.
Yeah,
and the Raiders would be 3-4.
And I would bet the Raiders but just because I think it's whatever value based on what both teams' ceilings and both teams' floors are. But I wouldn't be sitting here surprised if they lose this game. And then if they do, it's like, wait a second. Remember that game remember that week after they beat the Chiefs and we're talking about can the Raiders win a playoff game? Like, are they that level of team this year? Which would be a step up for them.
I'm just a big believer. Yeah, for sure.
Right. And now it's like, guys, you lose this game, you're 3-4. Sorry, go ahead.
I just think when you're like a fringe playoff team, like when you're in that 8 to 9 win range, but you're really trying to establish like we're back as a franchise. When you find yourself against the Chiefs, against the lock playoff teams, and you're in the game late, you do need to take some big swings. You can't play it like if that's the Chargers, let's say, or Denver. I think you could have a little bit different of a mindset. Like you're like, listen, we're just going to be better. We'll make more and more play. When that team's better than you in the sport of football, in the NFL more in college, because in college like one loss kills you, but in football where like an extra win, the difference between, especially this year, like 8-9 or 9-10 gets you into the dance. You have to put your balls on the table. And Gruden now, I'd say pretty consistently over his time back, like there's no rhyme or reason to what he does. Like some guys just like Riverboat Ron or Mike Tomlin, that crazy SLB. Yeah, or Arians or like John Harbaugh. That motherfucker goes for it. It's like Gruden. What do you think he'll do here? Down, you just like up 40, like went for it. Yeah, like down 20, just he weighs what I just don't know. I mean, I don't know I don't really know what his identity is as like a football mind. Not his offense and like the way he thinks about football, but just the game shit, like the flow of a game. Does he just kind of randomly guess? I don't know. That was just bizarre.
Against
Against a guy
say
that's really
arguably,
aggressive.
Against a coach that's aggressive and one of the greatest fourth quarter quarterbacks of all time. Certainly the greatest quarterback, right? I mean, it's like, other than Montana. Hit us up, Joe.
Yeah, we watch.
I
DM'd him. He hasn't hit me back.
That's fine. Keep at it.
I will.
So must-win game. I am looking forward to this Cleveland game.